and welcome to another episode of Forbes India Presents Democratizing E-Commerce powered by GoKwik. My name is Manu Balachandran, and from all of us at Forbes India, we hope you're safe and continue to keep your guard up, especially as we stare at another wave of COVID-19 that have come to redefine our lives over the past 2 years. Now, on to our discussion today. Innovation in business means regularly updating the core, which leads to overall organizational growth. With marketplace companies growing to new heights, the top priority for businesses is about creating new value. Currently, innovation is applied anywhere from within the shopping experience to advertising and post-purchase touchpoints. Today, on Forbes India Presents Democratizing E-Commerce powered by GoKwik, we have with us Mr. Darpan Sanghvi, Group Founder and CEO, the Good Glamm Group, and Mr. Chirag Taneja, Co-Founder and CEO, GoKwik, to discuss on how the marketplace and overall e-commerce industry can overcome challenges faced by them and how technology can make them efficient, faster, and more accessible. Welcome, gentlemen. Darpan, at the outset, I want to understand your journey to become a unicorn and how were you sort of able to leverage a content to commerce strategy to take the brand to the next level?
Hey, Manu, thanks for having me here along with Chirag. Very exciting to be here. The Good Glamm Group was one of the first direct-to-consumer beauty brand companies to become a unicorn. What happened there? How did that, when I look back, how did we become one of the first guys to do it? If I see, I think we got two things ahead of other folks. The two things I think that worked for us and that we did before other folks did it, and we did it at a very quick pace and with some great execution. The first was we cracked customer acquisition cost through content creator commerce, through a content creator commerce flywheel, right? When MyGlamm and PopXO came together and the first content to commerce playbook got played out, we saw great results. We saw cost of customer acquisition drop by 90% and new customers increase 10x. So when we saw that something here is clicking, we figured something here out correctly, we decided to double down, quadruple down on that. And we went and got a bunch of content companies, a bunch of creator companies, and to supplement that, a bunch of beauty and personal care brands. So I think the second thing that we did right was we were amongst the first to create a complete portfolio of beauty and personal care brands through our some built, which is MyGlamm, and the rest that we acquired, a strategy, so through our build plus buy strategy, which then allowed us to play in that entire TAM. So when you take a step back, you see in India, when you're a single brand, single category, scale is limited. Right? You'll see most brands start plateauing, some depending on the category they play in, they'll plateau at 500 crores, 700 crores, 1,000 crores, 1,500 crores in revenue. To build brands beyond that is very, very hard, a single brand beyond that. So I think we were the first to recognize that and have a mom and baby brand with Mom's Co, have a natural category brand with Organic Harvest, MyGlamm in makeup, Saint Botanica in hair care, Sirona in intimate hygiene. Now, allowing us to play that entire $20 billion TAM. So then I know that, hey, okay, I can do $1 billion in revenue. If I can get 5-7 brands, all of them doing between 700 to 1,500 crore in revenue, then I can build $1 billion revenue business, right? So I think we're the first to get on that. And the reason we did that was because with MyGlamm, we cracked customer acquisition cost. And we were on a DTC, which is on our website and our app, we were able to scale tremendously. MyGlamm was doing about, at that point of time when we embarked on the acquisition strategy, about 300,000 new customers a month, transacting new customers a month on the MyGlamm website as a single brand, by far the highest. So I think we cracked content to commerce, and on the back of that, created that first portfolio of beauty personal care brands that allow us to address this entire TAM. And that's why we catapulted to a unicorn last year.
Absolutely fantastic. Chirag, you were recently featured in the Forbes India's Next 100 Companies to Watch Out For. What's been the journey for you so far, especially as one of India's largest e-commerce enablers?
Thanks, Manu, for having me. And first of all, let me congratulate Darpan on what the Good Glamm Group has achieved. It's fabulous in terms of what he was describing, what they figured out, and then how they're expanding. I think it requires a lot of deep execution skills. So kudos to them. In terms of our journey, we're very fairly young company, just completed 2 years. And I used to be on the other side where I used to run a D2C brand called Bombay Shaving Company. And when COVID happened, we realized that in India, e-commerce will happen outside of Amazon, Flipkart also. And when this commerce will happen, of course, consumers begin their journey on Amazon, Flipkart. And when they go to this world, they will realize that this experience is not the same. And it will require a lot of tech data science effort to bring this to the same thing, right? And we realize that there are companies, large D2C brands, which will be forced to behave like a CPG company. When the P&Ls will look at like that, investors will put it. And then companies like us will become or we'll convert those fixed high technology data science costs to marginal cost for them. So that's what we thought that, can we be in this business of providing democratizing shopping experience or providing Amazon type experience on the non-Amazon world. Till date, we've touched close to 80 million shoppers till date, and expanding work with almost all large 500 brands in the country.
Darpan, to you, what are some of the key challenges that you observe in the e-commerce industry, and how did, say, the Good Glam Group manage to overcome those challenges and win, especially, in the context of a competitive market that you're playing in?
So in e-commerce, when you're trying to acquire the customer on your own platform, there is a customer acquisition cost that you play out. That customer acquisition cost, you want to make sure that your AOV is right enough and you're able to get enough gross margin in to be able to take care of that customer acquisition cost, but also your LTV, meaning that repeat behavior of the customer and stickiness of the customer is strong, so that you keep making more and more money from that customer that you spent on, right? The other problem that you have in e-commerce is returns. That's another problem that you have in e-commerce. And then you have freight, right? So I would say that these are some of the broad challenges that most e-commerce companies will face. Now, for us, my category took care of a few problems for me. One, the beauty category is a highly sticky category. It's hard to get a customer to try your brand the first time, right? So that CAC is a challenge just to get the trial in. You crack the trial, right? If she likes your product or he likes your product, the stickiness then is a lot more. So you'll start seeing repeats, right? So even for a DTC brand, a single brand, not when I'm talking about all my brands put together, but a single brand, a repeat customer is buying 4 times a year from us. So stickiness is just inherent in the category. So that was one problem that got solved, right? The other problem here is returns. Now, the good thing about our category is you don't have returns in our category. It's unlike clothing or fashion, where returns are very high. For me, returns are 4 to 5%, and those returns are primarily for when there is a problem with the product that the customer has received. Right, so fundamentally, returns are not permitted in the cosmetics category. So I think that returns problem is also taken care of. And third, freight. See, all my products are very small. It's a small lipstick, it's a cream, they fit under 500, 250 grams. So the freight cost is very, very efficient, right? Both in volumetric and in weight as well. So the big thing I had to solve for was essentially that first time trial, the cost of customer acquisition, right? Which we through all the experiments we ran, we found that we stumbled upon that secret sauce of content creator commerce, right? For us, the punt and the bet that we took in the middle of COVID of merging with PopXO, Glamm and PopXO for us. Once that got solved and CAC inherently became low, everything else was in play. Obviously, you got to do all the other things right? You're ultimately building brands. Chirag referred to it's like a CPG company. That's what you're doing, which is building brands. So you've got to make sure there's a lot of innovation in your products so that consumers love them. You're ahead of the curve, and your marketing is very disruptive. It's very aspirational. Doesn't matter if she's buying a product for $99 or $5.99. It is aspiration that she's buying for, right? So keep doing all of those things so that you can build a brand and crack your business model through this low CAC in e-commerce.
I think that's fascinating, and I think Chirag was sort of nodding his head in, heavily. So, Chirag, same question I want to throw to you. What are some of the key challenges that you observe in the e-commerce beauty space, and how are you sort of helping, overcome those challenges?
Thanks, Manu. I think what Darpan mentioned, this category, I think is very well suited for e-commerce growth. As he said, that one, in terms of the package size, that's very convenient. So it is not something bulky and hence doesn't cost a lot of logistics. And also, I think India is at that stage where, people want to spend on how they look, and they're going to be flourishing, or we are at that stage where we are at the brand inflection point where people will look up to certain brands and would want to try out, etc., etc. So that inherent trial is there for the category. We typically work on both the problem statements, CAC as well as retention or repeats. And if you break the CAC cycle, it has both legs. One is on the purchase funnel. How do you ensure that somebody converts faster? And also, India being India, anywhere from 50 to 70% of orders happen on cash on delivery, which has this abuse, which also results in indirectly, or I should say directly, CAC going up. Right, that these orders are not accepted. In fact, those bleed the P&L in a massive way. We solved for both of them, wherein we started with solving with RTO as the number one problem statement, and we took it as a very different way of approaching the problem, wherein we said the RTO problem exists because of consumer intent, not primarily because of logistic issues. Hence, we developed these sophisticated data science backed algorithms which are able to predict on a real time basis what's the intent of this transaction. So that is one. And then of course we've solved for checkout in terms of how do you ensure that somebody who's landed on your website converts better. So think about it that if out of 100, 4 people today convert, we ensure that we are able to get 5 of them to be converted. How do we do that? We have or typically a checkout has these 4 or 5 steps. Starts with login, followed by address, followed by shipping, discounts, and then payments. We work across all 5 of them. The large theme being, we like to divide these into 3 broad buckets: most convenient, most trustworthy, and most rewarding. These are 3 pillars on which we work across these 5 modules and ensure that any customer who's there is able to convert faster, is able to finish the transaction faster. That's what, at least from a beauty point of view, we do. We, of course, work heavily on returns, etc., with some of the other companies. In fact, in beauty, we work with, as Darpan mentioned, that there is, in some certain cases, there is an instance of returns wherein people are not able to match the shade of a lipstick, or, and that leads to returns. And that happens because, in India, shopping happens on Android, and Android doesn't have 2 colors. Right, so that ends up in returns. So we are solving for that via technology. So we're solving some of these interesting things.
Right. But Darpan, of course, customer acquisition costs continue to be one of the biggest factors. But, what strategies are you adopting to grow your market share, going forward?
Market share now is becoming very relevant for Glamm, because Glamm is, I think this year we're hoping to be, we'll be the number 3 makeup brand in India. The other younger brands that we have that we acquired last year are in the process of actually grabbing market share. So I think until now, because the brands were in the scale-up mode, the market share was there for us to grab. First, you have to understand this category is growing, right? Online beauty is growing at 40% year on year. Overall, the category, if I look at just makeup overall, online plus offline is going to 18%, but online is growing at 40%. If I look at personal care, online plus offline is growing at about 10%. So this is a growing category. India penetration of beauty personal care products is, it's even 1/3 of a Vietnam, forget 1/50th of a China. So this is going to explode and going to grow. So this, for the next 10 years, the beauty consumption story, the beauty personal care consumption story of India is going to be extremely strong. So one, I think, a lot of the players till date here, Manu, were the legacy traditional players. What you have to understand with them, one of the sort of challenges they have is their lead time to produce a product, right? From an idea, so spotting a consumer trend, to actually bringing it out to the market is at least 18 months. Now, what happens is this consumer of today, right? She could be sitting in a Raipur or she could be in Delhi. She's seeing the latest trends on social media. She's seeing what Kim Kardashian is applying on her face, and she wants it today, and she wants it in the Indian context. So when you get those insights as a young and agile company, you can quickly innovate, and can you have the product out in 4 months, right? And then use the same content on social media, but this time with the Indian context of creators, right? Telling them this is right here now, right? And get the transaction in. So I think that's been very helpful to create innovation through disruptive products based on consumer insights with very quick turnaround lead times, which helps us stay ahead of the legacy companies. So I think that's one piece. I think the second piece, of course, is the deep reach of our content platforms, given that we have 200 million monthly active users. See, today, Good Glamm Group sits with over 11 million transacted customers, right? 8 million of them transacted this year alone in 2022, right? So last year we were 3 million transacted customers. We're ending this year with over, I think, 11.5 million transacted customers. But that's a small subset of my 200 million monthly active users that I have through Good Media Co, through the different media platforms that we have. So what we're ensuring is, hey, and it was so amazing to hear what Chirag said, that he's already engaged with 80 million consumers, because my dream is in the next 3 years, can I have 40 million transacted customers, right? For the Good Glamm Group. And you get them as transacted customers, and then are you able to cross-sell? You acquired her through a lipstick, but now you're also able to give her a Sirona sanitary pad, or able to give her a Saint Botanica Moroccan argan shampoo. So make sure your acquisition funnel is large. Get those 200 million mouths into 40 million transacted customers. And then if they're buying 4 times a year from you with one brand, can they buy at least 3 brands in the group? So with the group, they're buying at least 12 times with you in a year. So increase customer retention, orders per customer as well, right? For us for the year. So that's how we're going about increasing market share.
Fascinating. Chirag, so in that sense, how critical is, the checkout, the ease of checkout part, especially when it comes to reducing customer acquisition cost, and of course, if you want to, improve your retention rates?
I think it's directly related, as I said, that, you spend a lot of dollars of marketing dollars to get someone to your website, and then you put all your energies to convince them and get them to buy. I think checkout is one of those steps where, as a merchant, you want that to be finished fast. As a customer, you want that to be finished fast. And as an enabler or as a checkout provider, we also want that to be finished fast. So our vision there is that, can we enable it to be an invisible checkout, or to put it other way, we want it to be a decision-free step, that all decision making should happen actually before checkout. So we do a bunch of work there in terms of, pre-filling addresses, applying better discounts, or auto-applying discounts, to figuring out what's the best, all EDD, etc. Information is pre-filled. Another thing, I think what we are pegging on in terms of reducing CACs or helping merchants get into better CACs is that we believe this headless commerce way is going to be massive, wherein checkout is going to get disintegrated from storefront and is going to actually go closer to the content. There we are riding big on WhatsApp. We believe that WhatsApp commerce can become really, really big. And we've enabled headless commerce within WhatsApp, wherein we are able to recover abandoned cards or recover users and get them to transact, get them to repeat within WhatsApp. So we've made WhatsApp shoppable. You don't have to go back to storefront and do all of that. So that's one, at least a new product which has started to take off in the category of headless commerce.
Interesting. Chirag, of course, we're coming to the end of 2022. How's the year been for you? And, any learning successes that you want to sort of share?
I think, of course, at startups, we take a lot of bets. Some work out, some don't. So we are full of at least learnings. I don't know whether they should be called as successes or not. Of course, we do have some. But there are, of course, many learnings. In terms of, when we, as I said, that we are a 2-year-old company, so this was second year for us. And when we started 2022, we were just coming out of COVID, wherein people were still figuring out e-commerce was still continuing to grow, and it continues to grow. I think we've doubled or more than doubled in terms of the number of brands we work with, in terms of the TPV which we process. I think the most glad thing we have today figured out is that the kind of team which we have built is very, very well suited to make this into a global play. I think, while e-commerce, we crave about a lot about the user, but I think in India, in a country like India, address is a big identifier, a unique identifier, which will have a large role to play as e-commerce evolves in the country. It has massive use cases. And I think one another big realization for us was when we were solving RTO, that solve problems at source, and typically problems which don't have a direct intervention correlation, that if you do this then X will happen. Then it becomes very difficult for people to solve. It becomes very difficult for capital to be raised for those problems. Example being air pollution in Delhi. So we figured out those problems with respect to RTO, and hence we have been able to solve this menace, of a problem in our country massively, and you're going to see, ecosystem getting benefited in the next year because of this.
Right. Darpan, you've also had a fascinating, I mean, of course, apart from the number that you threw earlier, you announced an international division expansion into Middle East and Southeast Asia. How do you look back at 2022?
I think 2022 was an equally exciting year as 2021 and came with its own set of challenges for us. Now, if you just look back at our history again, 2017 October, MyGlamm gets launched. Right. 2020 middle of COVID, MyGlamm PopExo come together and content to commerce starts. 2021 is the year where we do the M&A and we acquire 10 companies and we build out the Good Glamm group with 3 distinct verticals of good media, good creator, and good brands. 2022 was making it all come together. Right, we went from 200 team members to 1,500 team members on the corporate side. Overall, as a company, including my retail team members, we are over 4,000, 3,500, 4,000 folks. All of that has happened in 12 months. 11 different companies operating in one roof, getting everyone, the chemistry, getting everybody to work together. So many new leaders. We had, our CEO for Good Brands come in. Priyanka became the CEO for Good Media, and Sachin came in as the CEO for Good Creator. So all of that happening, 2022 really was a year where the hypothesis that we had in 2021, we had to show in 2022 is working. And I also get that softer aspect at the back end, really like everyone worked together as one. When I look back, I think 2022 went off, touch wood, it went off well, where the numbers also delivered. Everything we acquired grew at least 2.5x. So you will see some exciting news on international. We opened up the division in the Middle East. We hired a senior team there. We've just started selling in retail outlets in the Middle East. So 23, you'll see a lot of news on international coming up from Good Glamm, starting from the first quarter of calendar year 23 itself.
Right. Chirag, no, just coming back to some of the challenges for D2C brands, there's the high drop-offs and RTO. What kind of results have you seen and, the kind of solutions that you've been sort of able to solve?
I think if I had to give an aggregate answer, I would say that, we have been able to reduce RTO by up to 30%. For the brands which work with us. And in terms of conversion rates, we've improved it by minimum by 50 to 20% conversion rates. But that's at the aggregate level. Of course, the answer is more nuanced when you go deeper. So it is a category specific, AOV specific answer. But largely, because of our measures in terms of interventions, data science backed algorithms which come into play, we've been able to reduce it at an aggregate portfolio level by up to 30%.
Right. Darpan, enablers, of course, are playing a significant role in the e-commerce industry these days. How do you see their role? And have you partnered with any of them? And what's been your experience so far there?
So, I think enablers, like I was mentioning earlier, that we've been, lucky that we've had a lot of focus on DTC from day one. And we've actually built out a very large team to take care and make sure we're ahead of the curve when it comes to DTC e-commerce. However, I would say 95% of the brands out there won't have the kind of resources we have or the focus that we have on DTC. And they lose out on simple best practices that like the way Chirag was mentioning, whether it's abandoned cart, whether it's leveraging WhatsApp now for abandoned cart and getting better conversions over there. The things that enablers can provide who are constantly making innovation, and investing in innovation for that entire checkout process, for the CRM, for retention.
Chirag, so, if you can just sort of take us through why RTOs are such a big challenge for e-commerce enterprises in India, and what are you sort of doing, to create an advanced shopping experience, to minimize the cost?
It's a very interesting question. I've been trying to explain RTO since the time we came into the business. I think it's a India-specific phenomena. I would say that it comes with cash on delivery, and just for viewers, RTO is different from returns. This is somebody, you ordered something, you came to your doorstep and you decided not to take the order. So this is different from returns, and it comes primarily, as Darpan said, with cash on delivery. It is not a phenomena which comes with prepaid. And I would say India has product market fit in e-commerce because of cash on delivery. So it's one of those, devils which you have to live with. If you're running an e-commerce company in India, you have to live with it. So And it's a you can say it's a negative consequence of impulse purchase, which is what all e-commerce marketers want to do. They want consumers to buy on impulse. They want them to do window shopping, and it's a course correction which happens once the order or once that sugar rush associated with the order goes down. And when we started, we looked at this data when the entire industry thought that this is a logistic problem, and let's deliver fast and do. And I used to do that at Bombay Shipping Company. Block pin codes. There are change courier partners, etc. But it didn't used to change anything materially. And then when we looked at data, we realized that this is largely a consumer intent problem more than the logistic problem as it is believed to be. And we thought that, okay, if you have to solve, going back to our principle, if you have to solve the problem at source, let's solve problem within the marketing funnel. So either solve it right at the acquisition point or solve it on the funnel, but don't let the orders go beyond it. So what we did was we came up with this state-of-the-art data science algorithms, which are now under patent in terms of prediction of consumer intent right at the time of checkout. That was one product, and basis those risk orders, you could do various things. For very, very high fraudulent, abuse users, you could block them, but for others, you could charge variable COD fees. You could build out a COD prompt, which could reconfirm orders, or as Darpan said, you could get into the communication layer with everyone. Those are some of the things which you built out. And then the second leg was that, okay, can I give you an audience which is like a blacklisted, like what we call in the credit world, this is like the willful defaulter audience. And as a marketer, I don't even want to market to them. Why do I even spend dollars with them? So what we do to brands is we give you that audience also, so that whenever you are marketing on Facebook or Google, you could actually negate this audience and just show your advertisement to the good folks out there. So what it leads to that you're actually not getting them on the funnel itself. So these are two broad pillars on which we have worked extensively, and we've seen success.
Right. Talking about conversion, Chirag, another big challenge, of course, is that is that of cart abandonment rate. How can you solve for that? And are you sort of you guys looking at some way of dealing with that?
Yes, 75% of carts are abandoned. And it's not an India-specific phenomena, it's a global phenomena and happens for various different reasons. Right? And if you start breaking them into what are the causes for abandoning carts, one, of course, is intent of the consumer. Second is that, a large theme being the more information you ask from the user, the more, they're thinking about, do they actually need the product? And then they're figuring out what kind of discount, etc. So in our view, the biggest drops happen when you ask for a lot of personal information from the user, and you're not able to pre-populate or pre-fill those information in any way. Logins lead to a lot of drops. And similarly, what we were discussing, India being India, at least what we see is 85% plus transactions happen with a discount code. So, it's important to serve that discount code. Consumers should not be looking for something, and I think Swiggy has cracked it very beautifully, on their platform. So that's another one wherein serving the right discount codes help in saving the cart abandonment rates. And I think while we have been able to reduce this 75 number to almost 60% now, wherein we pre-fill addresses, we are able to surface the right discounts. I think what we are also figuring out is that in this headless commerce wave, how do you use WhatsApp to recover these abandoned carts? We are able to see 20% of the carts getting recovered via WhatsApp. And why uniquely in India? Because one, India is very heavy on WhatsApp, and India is, or at least email and SMS is dying in India. They still work, but in terms of the number of people who actually click and open, it's like dying.
Darpan, I know you sort of touched upon this earlier, but with so much new age technology solutions emerging in the e-commerce market, how are you adopting these solutions for your brand, and what's been the results so far?
So it's what you mentioned, right? I touched upon it earlier. First is I'm always hoping that we are at the forefront, right? Okay. Given that the investments that we've made in tech and product and also digital growth hacking. But at the same time, we're constantly looking out for what's there. So, Chirag was mentioning WhatsApp, and we've done deep integration with WhatsApp, where the entire sort of right from catalog to payment happens there. The challenge we have with WhatsApp right now is that WhatsApp Pay adoption is very, very low in India. So then getting that entire journey finished, right, the day that adoption goes up, and that's the bet we are taking, that that payment problem on WhatsApp will become a lot more smoother than what it is today. When that happens, that transactions will be very high. However, WhatsApp is great for CRM. It's good for once you already acquired the customer, on re-engaging with the customer. How can you leverage WhatsApp to actually acquire customer? That's a challenge we're working on today, right? So there are, all of these things come with their own sort of set of what's next for us here, right? I was talking about the data science piece that we're trying to do, which is, can you get that influencer to serve up the ad automatically after you've actually interacted with this influencer, right? So that the next scroll is an ad from that influencer for a product that might be relevant to you. So we are constantly, our teams and I, we know that tech is our biggest enabler. Tech is our biggest differentiator from all the legacy brands.
Chirag, before I come to closing comments from both of you gentlemen, GoKwik obviously has been investing a lot into into tech and data science and all of that. Take us through, how that has sort of helped brands reduce losses.
So, let me, this is a super interesting, very close topic to me in terms of how data science can really help in terms of bringing efficiencies to the D2C brands. And in fact, to the larger e-commerce ecosystem, right? And I read it somewhere that, we still say that data is the new oil. And I think that has now evolved to that data is like water. So it has to be kept pristine, clean, so that it can be used, and then you can call out insights, etc. We have from day one invested in building the best data science capability. I'm proud of the fact that the kind of people we work with in terms of applied scientists from Microsoft who have built these sophisticated systems. In terms of use cases, of course, we solve for this big RTO or big prediction of consumer intent use case. I think the another one which we've recently rolled out is how do you do payment personalization? And we figured out that what this user is going to do, is this user going to do which payment method? And then can you optimize for that payment method and just surface them the best optimized, most used payment method for them, so that you reduce drop-offs.
Right. On that note, I think we need to draw this discussion to a close. So, Darpan, what exciting things can we expect from the Good Glamm Group next year?
I think you can expect the brands that we have to grow and become market leaders. You can expect us to have a couple of new brands. We are getting into the men's segment, and we'll be announcing that and launching something there soon. You can expect a lot of good things happening on more geographies, the international piece that we spoke about. And you can expect also us adding some interesting new channels. We don't have EBOs today, exclusive branded outlets. And we're hoping to be a little aggressive there in the coming year. Most importantly, you can expect profitability as well. So growth with profitability, that's what we're looking for in 2023.
Right. Growth with profitability. Chirag, what are the big plans for GoKwik for 2023? And how's the sort of year looking for e-commerce in general?
E-commerce, I think as we are ending this year, we continue to see the overall industry continuing to grow. I think we would again be growing like 200% this year. And 2023, of course, I'm betting big. We look at our business in three axes. One is, of course, as Darpan said, that one is axis is geography. That can we take our products to international? Yes, we would want to go out and try that in 2023. Second is, you look at where the consumer is going. And as we see that consumer is going closer to content, so can we, build more products there, which is the headless commerce wave? Can we be an omni-channel partner? Can we do this offline? That's on the, that's how we project this. And of course, we are at that stage where, as a company, we have a great team, we're well capitalized, backed by great investors, and we are the market leader. So we would want to, double down on that effort as the macro continues to be a little murky. We would want to capitalize on our position of, strength and continue to build it from here. What it means is that we'll continue to hire folks, build a stronger team, and build out more tech-first products, which are going to be very, very beneficial in terms of realizing more GMV for e-commerce brands.
Right. So all in all, 2023 is looking to be a fascinating year for both of you. And from all of us at Forbes India, we want to wish you the best. To our viewers who've joined us today, we hope you continue to stay safe, especially, with what's happening in China. Stay safe. Take care. Goodbye.